Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 824, written by RedBellPepper. The mysterious case of solar teleportation. This anomaly, I guess is the best word to describe it, happened a few months ago. Frankly, I still have trouble believing it myself. So take this writing as me trying to come to grips with what happened, and that there's no explanation I can muster that really fits. I was waking up, a normal day like any other, just earlier. Groggy, getting my shower and coffee, soon to set off to work right after. Had to get to the office a little sooner than typical because of presentation prep work I still had to do. Procrastination is a nasty mental bug that I can't seem to shake. Anyways, set off driving, heading in. Usual commute is maybe 30 minutes, but it's earlier now, 7 a.m. Less traffic, so I figured I could make it a few minutes earlier. This was a few months ago, summertime. The sun was already rising. Get on the highway and I'm off. Only I had this feeling in the pit of my stomach as soon as I got on the highway. I couldn't place it exactly. Everything looked normal, but I knew it wasn't. Almost like the people who are on their deathbeds and know when they're about to die. I think it's an actual medical symptom, a sense of overwhelming dread. That'd be the closest way I could describe it. By the way, I'm 34 and in pretty good shape, so I don't think this was an actual medical issue. I'm driving along the highway. I noticed the sun move on the horizon a little in my periphery. It wasn't dramatic, and I'm of course not looking directly at the sun for obvious reasons, but it did flow ever so slightly. For some reason, when my brain registered this, I just felt ill, seriously sick, had to pull into the shoulder and get out, puke. Eventually, I calmed down and actually started to feel positively elated. It was a wild roller coaster of a morning, let's say. But when I get back into the car and quickly check my phone, I realize there's 45 minutes of unaccounted time, if not a few minutes more. I expected to make the trip to work by 7:25 a.m. at the latest. Yet I'm still 15 plus minutes out and it's somehow past 8 p.m. This is impossible to an infinite degree. I sat there just staring at my phone, not able to process this. The rest of the commute, which I started back minutes later because I was stunned, was fine. Nothing else weird has happened to me since. I spent the whole day and many days since trying to logically explain this. Only thing I can think is somehow I blacked out and went on autopilot, pulled onto the shoulder for over 45 minutes, sat there doing nothing, then went back to driving and my consciousness returned. Why the hell would that happen? I did see a doctor a couple weeks after this and told him I had a memory lapse. They conducted various tests but found nothing wrong. My brain is in tip-top shape, as is my heart, as far as they can tell. Case notes for file 824. The mysterious case of solar teleportation. So I was fixated on the small point that you mentioned about the sun flowing, sort of like moving ever so slightly, but in a way that shouldn't be possible. Obviously the sun does move across the sky, but very, very slowly throughout the day. I think that's the point. And when you saw the sun flow, that was the 45 or 50 minute time gap that you hopped through. It is possible, as you explained it, that maybe somehow you blacked out, were on the side of the road, and just waiting, and then your consciousness came back and then brought you back to driving, and then you noticed the sun was a bit further ahead in its natural movement than it should have been. I think that was the moment where it signifies the time jump. Now, if you didn't black out, it could be another one of those cases of space-time anomalies while driving, and you say there wasn't much traffic, so maybe this only happened to you. You entered some sort of space-time warp anomaly, wormhole, and you didn't hop forward in space, only time. Although it's even more mysterious when you mention that you felt uneasy as soon as you got on the highway, so presumably before you entered this anomaly. Was your subconscious able to detect this anomaly ahead of time? Huh. If time is buffered, then maybe our subconscious is all wired into everything that's happening. The subconscious is just, well, not just, but we're picking up on a lot that's going on, including the future, because it's buffered. And your subconscious knew you're gonna go through something very, very weird right up ahead. Maybe. Pretty cool. Bonus file. Written by Snoo Suggestions, 9830. The house that costs more than money. Friend invited me to the second viewing of the apartment they were interested in buying. The apartment itself was great, but it came with a room which was part of the attic, which the realtor said was used by the residents as a meeting room. She took us up to show the room, and it was odd. It was a bedroom-sized room with no windows and no source of light, as the light fixture on the ceiling was broken. We had to use a light from our phone as a flashlight. All that was in the room was an old cupboard, which had half-glass doors with a green velvet-looking curtain behind them, and some chairs in a corner. When the realtor was out of earshot, I turned to my friend and said, "Oh my god, this is like something from a horror movie, where the residents of the building are in a cult. What the hell is in that cupboard?" My friend laughed and repeated what I said back to the realtor when she returned. The realtor herself then confessed that she also thought it was creepy. I asked out of curiosity what's in the cupboard, and she said it's locked, so she doesn't know, but she agreed with me that it looks like an altar or something creepy. My friend still loves the place. It had a nice vibe otherwise. I just saw that room was very strange to have resident meetings in. Case notes for the bonus file. A house that costs more than money. So how this is playing out in my mind: you buy the house, sign the papers, finalize the transaction, and then realize, oh boy, you bought the house for more than just money. Maybe your soul was involved as well, your friend's soul. If people really do worship the devil or the occult, demons, anything that's unknown, does that actually result in manifestations of pure evil in that environment? Although as you describe it, you were just creeped out in that room, but generally the vibe of the house was positive. If there is some sort of evil, malevolent force, a demon, a devil, it doesn't seem like you'd get the impression that everything was copacetic, besides in that one room that was just a bit off. Maybe just weird people that had a slightly unsettling room, for whatever reason. Creepy file number 59. Written by Ruga Ru, 2217. My friend was a murderer. I remembered this event after reading a similar creepy story on here and thought I'd post it. I went to school with this guy. We never dated or anything like that, just friends, but not overly close. I didn't see him for a few years after we got out of school, but we ran into each other when I was pregnant with my son. We hugged, talked for a while, and then went our separate ways. Several years later, I was watching the evening news and I heard them say a familiar name. I immediately recognized the name of my old friend since it was fairly unusual. They said he was arrested for killing his girlfriend. He apparently stalked her, but was able to get her to come to his apartment to get her belongings. He then abducted and shot her. He drove around with her body in the car for 4 days. I don't mean that the body was in the trunk either. Her body was in the passenger seat and he would talk to her and take her places, such as visiting his father's grave. I was even able to find the article from 1991. Case notes for the creepy file number 59. My friend was a murderer. They say that you can never truly know another human being. You can connect with them generally on the surface. Maybe you can dig a couple inches deeper into their psyche. But ultimately, no one knows what everyone else is thinking. No one is in their mind, examining every thought, peering through the processes by which we end up making choices. That you knew this friend would be very unsettling, because presumably you didn't assume he was a murderer or capable of that. Part of the story, right? We don't even know ourselves entirely. We don't know what we're going to do in a day from now, or a week, or a month, or 10 years. Will most of us become murderers? No, I expect not. I hope not. Until we're faced with challenges, until we're faced with all the minutiae of life, we don't really know what we're going to do. We can only try to imagine. Place ourselves in solid foundations of morality. It's the only real pathway, in my opinion. Then you have a proper guide. If you're going at it without any guide, that's going to lead you astray. In the end, I think the best choice is just to ask yourself, how would I feel if someone else acted the same way that I'm acting now? Or might act, want to act? And then if you think, yeah, I'd be fine with that. Seems reasonable to go through with it. But if you think, oh, I would hate that. Put yourself in their shoes. Maybe don't do it then. Pretty sure someone wouldn't want to be murdered. Bonus file written by Miss Jellybean. The Ethereal Intruders. I, 25 female, live alone in a one-bedroom flat. My bedroom is on the top floor. Kitchen, living room, and bathroom are down a flight of stairs. The front door is down another flight of stairs. A couple months ago, I woke up, went on my phone for a bit, and then decided to get up. Before I moved to get up, I heard 3 distinct, clear knocks on my closed bedroom door. I remembered that the estate agent said that I was due to have an inspection soon, and assumed it was them. I couldn't be bothered to deal with them, and found it weird that they just let themselves in without ringing or anything, so I pretended to be asleep and didn't respond. I waited. No more knocks, but I also didn't hear anyone walking away down the stairs, and I didn't hear anyone entering or leaving my flat. As I was lying there, waiting for them to leave, I realized that I had locked myself out several months ago, had to have the lock replaced, and hadn't gotten around to taking a set of the new keys to the estate agents. I was obviously very freaked out at that point. How did these people get in? I forced myself to get up after a while. I really needed to pee. And no one else was in my flat. I've asked friends and family, and they were all as freaked out and confused as I was. Anyone else have any explanations? Because I'm stumped. Case notes for the bonus file: The Ethereal Intruders. So, if these were entities, or monsters, I wonder if the knocking at the door was sort of the lore of Crossing the Threshold, where these monsters, entities, malevolent forces typically need permission to enter the body, or to cross into the home. Maybe in this case, the home was your bedroom, or considered your bedroom. So, because you didn't answer, they couldn't come in, and they just left and went somewhere else. It is an interesting and perhaps comforting thought, that you can only suffer evil if you allow it into your life. And if you simply say, I reject you, then it can't affect you. I don't know if that's true. Certainly not for every evil, and certainly not for humans. Human-on-human PvP is unlimited and unrestricted. For supernatural forces, maybe.